All right, so we're back again for another episode of Range Returns in Real Estate. I'm actually here with my man Shaun today. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
That's good. That's good. So he and his wife actually came out here and joined us today on Range and Real Estate, and he agreed to give us some information and some wisdom. So one thing about Shaun, I'm gonna say this publicly. He is actually probably the most humble person that I've ever met. I knew him for months, and then so plug it's kind of a little bit off topic, but I do the Veterans Day presentation at church, and so I saw his submission in it, and it was, what's that? Yeah, I was like, what's that? And I was like, what? Yeah, I was like, because he never like mentioned it in none of the conversations we ever had, or any of them that I ever heard you had. So it showed how humble of a person you were, because I'm sure without me to give you your flowers on being
Well, thank you. I
humble.
appreciate that.
Um, so first question out here, how was the experience for you today out here at Range Returns in Real Estate?
It was awesome. Me and my wife, it's been a long, long, long time since I've been to the range. And just getting familiarized with everything, breaking everything down, teaching us step by step. I mean, it was amazing. I really, really appreciate it.
No, good, man. I'm glad. It's always a pleasure, and we always like our feedback. And I didn't check with that. Well, I mean, I did do a little post check, so I kind of knew what he was gonna say, but I did ask once the camera was on, so that was his actual reaction. Okay, in that. Next question for you. So I mentioned, of course, you being in the military.
hmm
What was your transition like? Because we have a lot of followers, a lot of our people that view us actually that are either in the military and getting ready to get out, or just recently got out, or whatever the case may be. So can you give us a little bit of that transition?
Yeah, I would say my transition was tougher than I thought it was.
Mm.
I thought that, I had education, experience. I thought it was going to be an easier transition. I had been in San Antonio station twice, so I was familiar with the area. I had a real estate license here both times, so I had something that was already established, but I was coming from Fort Knox, Kentucky, trying to transition back. And basically, since my license was inactive, I had to start all over.
Mm.
So it was a little bit of I just didn't really know what to do with myself. After every day you knew what you was gonna do, and then starting from basically scratch again, it was a little bit of a transition. So it took me some time to adjust, and then I was gonna do the real estate full time, and then I ended up finding a government job, so I started doing that, and that's what I currently do now.
No, awesome. And he said one of some of the magic words, real estate, because what are we? Range returns
Yes.
in real estate. So tell me about as much as you want to. IRS don't listen, none of your business. No, but tell me as much as you want to. I know you do a lot of investing. So what type of investing do you like to do? And if you can talk about it from, if you were a brand new soldier and you were trying to prepare yourself for after retirement from the investment side, what would you have done different? Or what did you do, whichever one it may be?
Okay, so I would start with this. I would say what intrigued me about this is, one, my wife been asking to come to the range, but then you do the finance piece, he does the real estate piece, and I love personal finance and real estate. That's like two of my favorite topics, so it blended in well. I would say start early in the military.
Yeah.
When I came in, I didn't know about the TSP. I was putting money in it, but for years I'm like, why is it not growing? Well, it wasn't invested right. It was just in there. So that was one of the big things. But I think before you get to that, just having a budget. That's the biggest thing. Having a budget, knowing your finances, because you don't make a lot of money. It's not until you've been in for a while that you start realizing that, man, I need to take this a little bit more serious.
Mm.
And then, far as when you get ready to transition, start early looking at life insurance, because you have life insurance through the military, but you need to make sure you get some life insurance before you get out. And then take advantage of the programs that they have for the military. Like I did a program called Hiring Our Heroes. So they allowed me to come back to San Antonio, start a transition with a organization, which I did was real estate, but they had like USAA, all other different companies out there that you could partner up with, and you basically do an internship. And then the military also has the skill bridge. They have multiple programs. Take advantage of those programs if you can, and just get mentally prepared. It's like, what am I going to do? Have I invested enough in real estate or whatever it is to make a smooth transition out? Or do I need to go find more employment? Okay, what does that look like? Does your skills transition? But so you got to start thinking about that stuff 5, 10 years. Whenever you said I'm gonna do 20 years, what does after the 20 years look like? So that's a kind of a few of the pointers I would kind of say. We bought a few houses while we was in the military. That helped us a lot. I would have liked to buy more, but those turn them into rentals, then selling them, and then when I was in Kentucky, I ended up buying a rental property up there in Indianapolis. So I'm doing a long distance investing, and then we do some stuff here. So that's kind of what I would say is just start early, make sure you get a actual plan, and then execute that plan.
So before that was amazing. So let me also say this was one of the reasons I was so happy that you agreed to do the interview. In addition to me talking about how humble he was, the one thing I always noticed about Shaun was he isn't going to talk, but whenever he does, he's actually going to say something of some value, and it's always extremely valuable information that's spot on. So I knew if I could actually get you to talk, because he was like, I'm just minding my business. He nice, don't get me wrong, but he just
I'm an introvert.
right.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so
Yeah, if you say so. But you do amazing. So no, thank
appreciate
you for that.
that. Mm-hmm.
That's actually a really, really good point starting. So last question, and kind of segueing from that last one, young soldiers, at what point, because I know you said a little bit later you start making, like, at what point do you, I know probably day one, but
Yeah.
where you like, hey, no, first re-enlistment, like when should that click in your opinion?
Yeah, I think day one. I
Mhm.
think that it depends on what you came in the military for. What are your goals? And if you don't have any goals, hopefully you got a good leader to sit down and kind of talk to you about what your goals are. Um, and that's one thing I had. I had some good leaders, but I was self-motivated as well. Because sometimes you go in the military, you don't know what you want to do. You just like, I don't want to stay where I'm at. I'm just trying to figure out something. I'm do a couple years, get my education benefits and get out. And I often tell soldiers like, you could go to college while you're in the military, except for some MOSs or jobs, they're a little bit more taxing, so you can't. But I would say, why were you just going to come in the military then turn around and just get out and go to college? Have a plan, have a transition, but you got to start early. But it's the individual. It's got to click in their mind. You could tell them, I could tell them, anybody can tell them, but it's got to click in their mind, and they got to decide that they want to move forward with that plan. But just, man, I remember when I was in Fort Benning, I was a first sergeant, and these, because I switched from active duty to the Army Reserve active guard. So I was full time but working for the Army Reserve. And we had service members that came on orders, meaning for a year. I said, look, don't come here buying jewelry, getting tattoos, putting rims on your cars with this temporary money. What did they do? Everything we told them not to do. You know what I mean? So that's the kind of stuff that, we try to tell service members is like, look, man, you got to be good stewards of your money. You know what I mean? You got to be good stewards of your money from day one. But when it comes to transitioning out, once you make that decision, I'm gonna be in for a while. Even you may not even know, because at 10 years, I was kind of bobbing and weaving if I was gonna stay in or out. And I end up staying. And I wish I had took advantage of some stuff earlier.
Yeah.
So wherever you at, I don't care if you're at 18, 19 years, start right now. Don't think it's too late. Just get started and get with somebody like Warren or somebody that knows what they're doing and give you a good transition plan, because you need it. It's a lot. And this is one thing I was going to say earlier. If you can make your last duty station the place you want to retire, it's a whole lot easier. But if you can't, have a plan. Use all the resources. Take as much time as you need, and make sure that you're prepared, because it could be a challenge if you're not prepared.
Man, that ain't nothing else to say. What else you need? That's
Hopefully it wasn't too much.
No, not at all. No, that was perfect. Yeah, I was like, I have zero to add. That was actually spot on that. But no, thank you so much for coming out, Shaun. We really appreciated you and your wife today. And hey, until next time, y'all make sure to like, subscribe, share, do all the things that you need to do. Peace.